Good morning, everyone. My name is Andy. This is my brother Mich, and this is the Major Vibes Show, episode 7. I can't believe we've done 7 weeks straight.
007. That's the most consistent we've ever been at anything.
I like it. I'm very into it. Let's not waste everyone's time here, and let's start with the first topic. Today we actually have topics, which is a new thing. Normally we just kind of are trying to figure it out. So first topic, as we do every week, let's talk about our vibe scores. Brother, why don't you start?
All right. So vibe score of the day for me is an 80.
Nice.
So that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. A big bonus for me here is my heart score is 93 today.
It's
great. It's the highest that it's been in like a month. The heart score is a score we created based on your resting heart rate and your HRV. And my HRV is way up.
Okay.
It's been down for the last 2 months.
What's it at today?
90.
Nice. No, the HRV?
Yeah.
Okay.
HRV's at 90, resting heart rate 49.
Okay.
And great. I would attribute that to having a lovely day on the golf course yesterday afternoon with my wife, Eula.
Nice.
I didn't really want to golf in the morning. You know, I woke up, I was like, ah. And she's like, I want to golf today. And I was like, how about I have a coffee first and then we can discuss it, you know?
She sent me a text around, 7 yesterday morning.
Yeah.
She sent me a meme or something, and she said, we're golfing today, 1 o'clock. And I was like, 1, I'm not even awake yet. And 2, I said, I'm not into it today, which is rare. The first time I ever declined golf. Yeah. But I was exhausted yesterday, and I had like things to do. So, and for Sundays, normally if I'm golfing, which is 4 hours, usually on the weekend it's like 5. I don't want to leave my dog. And also Sundays is mom's church day, and I didn't want to, she was going to church, so I couldn't drop off the dog. Yeah. You know, so.
No, I totally
feel yesterday I had a great day with the dog, with Lando. We went out, we did a little mini hike on some trails. So it was a good time.
Great. So back to the vibe score.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I didn't feel like it, but Eula convinced me, and I was also like, I always make her do it. Like she often goes by herself. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you know what else am I going to do today? I'm just going to rot on the couch. I'm going to eat cookies all day. I'm going to be totally useless. So we went for breakfast. We went to at home. I made a story with a little guy named Stanley. I should have had him up here.
I know.
Then we played golf, and it was really nice and relaxed, went to bed, and it was a very fulfilling day. Mm-hmm. So I'd say that's what attributed to my good heart score.
Okay, great.
My vibe is only 80 though, because my sleep was 5 hours 23. And I'm feeling that today. So that leaves me with a 68% sleep score today. And I'm definitely feeling it. I'm definitely feeling rough. I went to bed around 10:30, which is an hour later than usual. And around 5 when Eula woke up, I couldn't fall back asleep. So here we are. That's okay. But on the week, let's see the weekly vibe average. 74. It's a low week for me, but I'm climbing.
Cool.
I'm climbing. I'm feeling good. Diet's in check. Mm-hmm. So brother,
yeah,
let's get into your vibe score of the day.
Today, I do not have a vibe score because I fully charged my Whoop on Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m., 100%. I have the notification to show. Normally that lasts 4 or 5 days. I woke up this morning. I was like, okay, let's check my vibe score, my Whoop score and everything. Battery's dead. I said, what do you mean battery's dead? I was fully charged. But yeah, battery was dead. So it died right before I went to bed at like 11 o'clock last night.
So it almost didn't last a day or a day and a half.
It barely lasted a day. I've been having battery problems, but now it's become really bad. So I guess that happens. I've had the device for about 2 years. I didn't reach out to customer service yet, but I will.
Carson said it's part of the membership fee that you pay, is that if it breaks, you can just replace it.
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to do that, and that's it. But no vibe score this week, but...
today, but this week
today, if I look at my 7 days, the week, it was bad. It was rough. I was in the blues most of it. I had 1 red. My average for the week, last week, was 69.
Nice.
Which is not great. My heart scores have been down. That's just due. There was some stress. There was some stuff like that, and then my sleep scores have not been great either because I've had not trouble falling asleep, but it's staying asleep. I've also not been eating a lot, and I read that if you're under eating, your body may go into like fight or flight mode in the middle of the night, and because your body needs that energy and those nutrients or whatever. So we're going to up the diet and start working out. As we said in the last pod, I think we're going to do the first workout back at the gym with you this week.
Oh, that would be a cool segment for the show.
So that should be cool.
It's us training.
Yeah, we could do that. And that's it. Lower vibes than usual. And I've been on a heavy downtrend, but it is what it is. Life has been crazy, but we're on the up. Things are looking great.
Awareness is everything.
2025 is coming, and I think that's going to be a great year. 2024 was crazy. 2024 was, I'd say, my most difficult year in all aspects. But 2025, and we're ending the year on a high, which is great because we're starting the year on a high the next year. So I'm very excited about it.
It's going to be the best year ever.
Oh, yeah.
Best year ever.
We're going to get those vibes up, and that's it. So those are our vibes.
Those are our vibes. And now a new weekly segment that we're going to do is called you want to call it the Viber of the Week?
Sure.
Well, at least we'll call it that for now, but you get the idea. It's the person who outperformed everyone on Pear.
In the last 7 days.
In the last 7 days, like on average. We take their average of the 7 days with our algorithm technology. And let's see who we got here. So I'm going to go into, I know you're already in there, week. And who is our Viber of the Week, brother?
Our Viber of the Week is our good friend, Scotty. And Scotty's a great guy. And just off the bat right here, I'm seeing his average sleep time for the week.
Vibe time. Or sleep time.
Sleep time.
My apologies.
His average sleep time for the week is 8 hours and 28 minutes on an average. That's crazy. I think mine was like 5.5 hours last week. So Scotty sleeps doing great. Average restorative sleep, 3 hours 13. Lower than I'd expect for that amount of average sleep. And an 85 heart score, which is pretty good. So.
Excellent. Yeah, his average HRV 83, his average resting heart rate 47. So those metrics are incredible.
And to be fair, I just put the month, and Scotty's also the Viber of the month.
Whoa.
So for November, Scotty won November.
Scotty is our first Viber of the month.
He's our first Viber of the month. Scotty won November. Maybe we should make a post, and maybe that's it, 'cause part of the gamification and incentives and stuff that we're doing. Maybe that's something that we can highlight to the other members and stuff. So it gives them maybe a goal to beat.
Absolutely. And honorable mentions. I know we didn't want to do this, but honorable mentions for spot 2 and 3 for the week are Will Topa with an average of 84. Shout out, Will. And number 3, Juliana.
Yeah.
With an average of 84, which is above her average.
It is. And so what I wanted to highlight here, which we'll pull up on the screen, is for the week, Scotty is above his average, which is our purple score. Will is in second place, but he is below his average.
By 1. His average is 85.
By 1 point, but still below his average. So although he's in second place, he was still a little below. Juliana, who is in third place, is also above. So it's a great thing when you finish the month above your average. That should be the goal to hit. I'm well below mine, but it is what it is.
It means all your metrics are trending upwards.
Yeah, it means you're on an uptrend. You're doing great.
So congrats, Scotty. You are the man.
Yeah.
You are the most chemically balanced. And we added 3 more people last week into Pear at the end of the week.
Yes, we did.
And so they've been putting up some great scores. So I can't wait to see what the new batch of people do to Scotty, in terms of competition.
Yeah, we need people to challenge that guy.
Yeah, and the overall vibe score was 77 of Pear last.
That's pretty good.
In the week. Pretty good.
Below its average.
Below its average.
So Pear was below average. Thanksgiving was there, and Christmas is coming in December. So when we do the December metrics in January, it'll be really fun to see.
I can't wait to see what the big events do. I say it all the time: Super Bowl, Halloween, New Year's.
How about this, Mick? Do you want to explain the vibe score a little bit more to our current followers and to new followers and new people who want to,
absolutely
just know a little bit more?
I would love to. It's funny that that's what number 3 is on our board.
Yeah.
What a great segue.
Yeah.
So the vibe score, which we have spoken of, we always come back to
our
it.
whole business is built around the vibe score, but we realized today on the phone, like maybe we should explain a little bit more about the vibe score, why it's great, why it's cool, why it's different than the other device scores, and what it really is.
Yeah. So quite simply, the vibe score is a metric that you can see in the morning that should be pretty close to how you're actually feeling. So how do we do this black magic stuff? Well, if you have an Oura or a Whoop or a Garmin, you'd be kind of familiar with the scoring system. You know, it's some sleep stuff, some heart stuff, all that good stuff. But what they all do differently is that they give you a sleep score, and then they give you some kind of recovery or readiness score or battery score, whatever that is. So our vibe score is a combination of sleep and your overnight heart metrics. So your sleep quality is a part of the vibe score, and your overnight heart metrics are also part of the vibe score. And you might ask, why would you include my heart metrics? Well, very simply, here's an example. It's Thanksgiving night. You had a lovely time with the family. You ate really late. You ate a lot. You went home at night, had a couple of glasses of extra vino because you're feeling it. And then you had some cookies, maybe 5, 6 Oreos, maybe some apple pie that mom made. And you go to bed super full with a couple of drinks in you. The next morning, there's a reason why you'd feel groggy. And that reason you feel groggy is because your body was working in overtime, overnight, to process the things that you put in it. So calculating your heart metrics overnight is a great way of showing how recovered you are. Because if your body didn't have to do all the crazy digesting and processing of alcohol, it would have the time that it needs
to rest
and restore itself and make you feel action-packed. Like that's why we feel really fucked up in the morning after a boozy night, is that we're hungover because our system didn't have the time to process our sleep and our recovery. It was too busy working on our liver and digesting and all that good stuff.
Too busy trying to repair all the chaos.
So what the vibe score does, it's a real great way, real great self-awareness tool to show whether you're actually recovered and feeling good or not. Because the problem with just the sleep score, like on Whoop, for example, you could have 100% sleep. But what was the quality of that sleep? Was it just a long time? Because you can get smashed and eat like crazy at night and sleep a long time. But what was the quality of that? And what was the effect on your nervous system? Because if your nervous system was taxed all night long, you're going to wake up feeling groggy and not your best self. So the vibe score is taking into account your sleep, your heart, to give you the best gauge of how you're feeling in the morning based on what you did the day before and especially the night before.
Yeah, totally.
So do you have any questions or something I can clarify?
No, but one of my followers brought up a point, and he said, because I posted my stress meter and my vibe score, whatever, and he said, he said, the vibe score, the stress meter is only related to physical or body stress, but how about mental stress that has nothing to really do with your body? Something, maybe someone died or a bad breakup. Like, how can you take that into effect to contribute towards your vibe? And I told him, the tech isn't there necessarily yet. There's only so much your heart score can go to like give you the vibe, and it's a pretty accurate thing. But eventually, because it's a good question, to add those stressful factors and see how those affect your actual vibe. Because we're measuring with the body, but if we could measure it with the mind, would be sick. Maybe Neuralink will help us with that in the future.
So I got that question as well, and it's kind of two-sided. It does almost show that. If you're very mentally taxed and you're feeling sad and down, there's two ways that the vibe score can be accurate based on that. Your HRV will be lower.
Yeah.
If you're feeling terrible and you're feeling severe mental stress can cause severe physical stress.
For sure.
And so that just like we don't track nutrition, we don't track mental stress, at least not now. But if you were mentally stressed, your HRV will be lower, your stress levels, your resting heart rate will be higher. Oftentimes when we're stressed, we tend to stress eat or stress drink or stress scroll, which in turn hurts our recovery, making the vibe score reflect that. And so it kind of does take it into account, because it's not like your mental and your body are two different things. They're actually connected.
For sure. And with me, like, I told him something similar to that.
Yeah.
I said we couldn't necessarily measure the mental, but I said in my experience from myself, mental stress has a huge impact with your heart score. So I know from 12 months of tracking that when I'm stressed or I'm not doing necessarily the best mentally, my HRV tanks and my resting heart rate rises, because you're thinking a lot, you've got anxiety a lot. The more you're in your own head, the more you're like this, and your score will reflect it in the morning. So although we can't fully measure what's going on in your head, usually what's going on in your head is communicating with your heart, and it'll give you that stress meter. That's why the stress meter is pretty accurate, and everything is going to keep getting more accurate as technology improves.
Yeah, as we improve, as our algorithm improves, as everyone improves. But yeah, that's a great answer.
And I know that, and for me, in when I'm in high stress mode, I don't eat. So I don't stress eat. I do the opposite. I'm never hungry. So like I've lost probably 20 pounds without even being in the gym or anything. I eat clean. I eat well. I still indulge. I eat chocolate. I eat junk every now and then. But yeah, for me, it's like stress equals I don't even think about food. I don't care about food. It's a task more than a passion, which when I'm not stressed, it's all passion and I can just always eat.
Yeah. So the stress, well said, impacts your heart and your body, and also impacts your sleep. If you're stressed, you're not sleeping well.
Yeah. So my problem, like I said, is not falling asleep. It's say I go to bed at 10:30, 11 o'clock. I'm up at 2 a.m. And that's when I can't go back to sleep, because at 2 a.m., all the thoughts are coming. Good thoughts, bad thoughts, any thoughts. They're just thoughts, and they don't stop.
Yeah, and when you wake up in the morning, we can have the daily fact check once we have our own young Jamie or whatever.
Who?
Young Jamie from Joe Rogan. He calls Jamie young Jamie, who pulls up all the stats. When you wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, your body pumps cortisol, stress, into you to wake you up and make you active, and that's what turns on all those thoughts. Yeah. Like, why at 2 or 3 a.m. do we have like these revolutionary ideas or problems that we need to solve at that moment? And so the alternative to that question is like how accurate is it to track mental stress? Well, it's actually way more accurate than you think. But what's the alternative now of not seeing it at all? Right? Like, if you can't track anything right now, right? Like, if you couldn't see your vibe score before, or your stress meter before, what could you see?
Nothing.
Right? Like, there's nothing. So it's it's definitely better than nothing.
Oh yeah.
And definitely way more accurate than you would think. Like when mom's house renovations were going on and she had all these stress and delays, like her vibe score was tanking, her heart score was tanking. When she had people in the house all day long, her vibe score was tanking. So it's pretty incredible. And what the heart score measures really is your nervous system. Your nervous system is in your whole body. It's not disconnected.
Yeah, like last year, probably January, February, I don't remember exactly, but my back was shot. So I had severe back pain, but I also had some other pain internally in my body. The stress that was coming out of that itself, like I was going to the doctor, I was doing scans, I was doing this. What the fuck is wrong with me, you know? In your head, you Google one thing, you have cancer and you have 3 minutes to live, right? So you have all these thoughts nonstop. So it's like if you look at my metrics, I'll pull up my Whoop metrics actually.
Sure.
At that time last year, I was on such a downtrend, and then I started getting better, and then boom, massive uptrend. So you saw a really good V. And now my V is turning into an N because I'm going back down.
Okay, but then you're going to come back up.
2025 is coming. We got one month left in the year. So we're ending it good. But yeah.
So that's how the vibe score works. And there's this misconception that the mental and the body are different.
They're connected.
If your body is stressed, it creates the illusion of more stress in your mind. Because if your body is stressed from overeating, from alcohol, from poor lifestyle habits, it makes your whole organism weak. If your organism weak, it's going to send signals through the vagus nerve to your brain to tell you, do not go. Do not attack. Do not try this new job or business that you want to create.
It basically says stay inside this comfort zone.
Your body's weak. You are weak. Stay where you are. Do not change, and puts all these rationalizations into your mind.
Every reason why you shouldn't do what you're actually supposed to do.
Exactly. So if you start working out, if you prioritize your sleep, and the best thing you could do for your sleep is not drink and go to bed early-ish. Even better than going to bed early, go to bed consistently, but don't eat 3 hours before bed.
That is a huge one.
It's the make or break, because if I eat right before bed, I wake up and I'm anxious, I'm irritable, dare I say, frothy.
Oh, wow, the froth.
We don't want to be frothy.
No, it's funny because the only time I actually do eat, for the most part, like an hour before bed or even right before bed or whatever, if I'm watching a movie or something, it's not like a blueberry or an apple. If I'm eating before bed, it's chocolate, it's sugar, it's candy, it's all the stuff that not only am I eating and my body is now going to have to digest this, but I'm also eating an insane amount of sugar, which will absolutely not even let me sleep.
Yeah, the inflammation's off the charts.
Yeah,
your heart rate goes through the roof.
Yeah.
And so I know for myself, I'm way more of a balanced person since I started prioritizing my nighttime routine. I just wake up feeling better and more stressed, because like it is stressful to create a business, to create a business that's not like, oh, there's this and that business, I'm going to create like a competitor version. We're doing something that's like completely...
It's totally new.
Revolutionary here. And you got to be mentally sound or crazy to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how do I say? Like, even like, let's say our meetings to go get investment and stuff like that, it's a grind. Like, most people would give up after the third meeting, right?
Yeah.
Because we're not getting yeses every single time. No. It's mostly no's. So it's
not really.
It's not.
We haven't got a single no.
No, we haven't got any no's, but it's never seal the deal on that meeting, right?
No, it's always like, okay, this will lead to that. And
this will lead to that, and I have this person, and then so it's always a million different things. So, like, yeah, it's just stressful because you're also like, wow, my burn rate in this business is like thousands per week or whatever.
Yeah, and so maybe that now we can transfer. Do you think we did enough on what the vibe score is?
Yeah.
And the last thing on the vibe score, why it's different and why we're actually not competing with any other brands in the wearable space, is that every brand has their own score. And every brand has two scores, a sleep score and a X score, whatever you call it.
And they all give you their score based off of different certain metrics, right? And before getting into our actual topic of the day, vibes and money, let's go to choosing the right wearable, because different wearables have different scores. And our big thing is, because there are so many different scores, and the scores are calculated by, are you ready to take on the day in an active way? Are you ready to take on the day because you slept well? What's your body battery? Like, there's so many different scores out there, and we couldn't all, like,
if we want,
it wasn't universal. So our big thing is we wanted to connect all the wearable users, but there wasn't one unified score. Every score was a different variation of things, of metrics. So we said, why don't we just pull all those metrics, create a universal score called the vibe score. It's the closest thing to how you're feeling, how you're vibing, what you're like today. And yeah, but the biggest question that I get, and probably you too, is, hey, I want to join Pear, or I want to get into this more active, this more wellness-centric lifestyle. Which wearable should I get? So I'll start with what I tell them.
Sure.
I only know based off of the Whoop and the Apple Watch from experience. I also know that I did not choose the Oura Ring because I didn't want to wear a ring. I just don't really like jewelry. So I wanted to keep my fingers clean.
Nice.
Yeah. So they're clean. But I chose the Whoop over the Apple Watch because the Apple Watch has way too many distractions, notifications, a clock, which actually I would like the clock, but
texts.
It's just a million different things, right? Like I'm not wearing a watch to listen to music on. Like, get out of here. This is no distractions. It's just a device and it pulls my metrics. That's all I want. That's all I need. And it comes with a great app. The metrics it gives me, though, the recovery score for the Whoop, hold on, let me say this. For the Whoop, they are focused on how ready you are to, like how recovered you are to take on the day to be active. Or what?
Well, it's kind of, but it was created for athletes to know if they should go hard in their training or take a rest day.
Okay, so the Whoop is more athlete-centric.
Yes.
The Oura Ring is more general for anybody, and it tells you based off of your sleep and your heart and your stress metrics how ready you are to take on the day. It's a sleek little ring. It looks good. It doesn't, you're not wearing this or an Apple Watch like to be ugly on your wrist. So that's for the Oura people. The Whoop people who are living more active lifestyles, more sporty lifestyles. Like
if you want to train and lift weights and like
don't wear the ring.
Do dumbbell curls or deadlifts or anything like that, having a ring really sucks.
Yeah.
And that's why I see a lot of people in the gym with Whoops or Apple Watches because it's around your wrist and it's not bothering you. So if you're an athlete and you like to lift weights and you don't like rings, go with the Whoop because it's fantastic. I would say because my wife has an Oura and a Whoop, well, and the 8 Sleep mattress, but you can't train with a mattress. Well, you can kind of.
You can.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
They both offer amazing insights and amazing metrics. Like they're fantastic companies. You can't go wrong with either one. But if you like rings, like Eula does a lot of yoga, a lot of like flowy stuff. She's not really lifting weights.
No, and she wears like an engagement ring and stuff, so it all goes together. She likes rings. Yeah.
Yeah. The Whoop is, if you don't want any distractions on your fingers, score-wise, the recovery score is, it's definitely a good score. It could seem a little harsh. I don't feel like my recovery score matches my vibe all the time.
No, me neither.
Because it's really based on your heart metrics.
Yeah.
And it has its sleep score. Matt Beadle, sleep coach expert, shout out, always shows his scores, and he often gets 100% on Whoop because it's more sleep-based. It's not quality-based. And Oura and Garmin, he can never get above 90.
Okay.
Almost never.
Okay.
Because it's much stricter.
Okay.
And what I've seen is our sleep score is very close to Oura's.
And so right now we have connections with, to bring onto our app to pair with Whoop, with Oura, with Apple Watch. The next two most popular ones are the Garmin and the Fitbit. I don't really have experience with either of those. The Garmin, I would guess, is like people who like go hiking and stuff, GPS based. I don't really know.
I'm not exactly sure. I just know that the people I know who wear the Garmin are like Iron Man type people.
Yeah,
They're like, it's like bulky, it's badass.
Yeah, it can last through the trenches.
Yeah, like RT. Like he uses it, he swears by it, he loves it.
Yeah, like Adam Swords wears the Garmin. But he's more like he's always doing aquatic adventures.
Yeah, and
like
so
he's very
like he's like outdoorsy.
Yeah, so he's like extreme sports guy.
Yeah, so outdoorsy people seem to like it.
Yeah, so if you're extreme sports oriented, then maybe the Garmin is more for you. And then the Fitbit, I would say, is great for the runners, the yoga people.
A lot of old ladies in yoga,
older people
wear Fitbits.
Yeah,
and it tracks their steps and stuff. I don't know how good it is yet because we need to have some beta testers.
Fitbit was the first one. So that's why it's more popular, especially among the older people, because I guess back in the day, the older people didn't have access to getting any of their metrics. And the older you are, the more imperative it is to get a snapshot of your life and your metrics.
Totally.
So anyway, I hope that kind of explains it.
So the right wearable. There are more wearables out there. There are a bunch on Amazon. Like there are rings and bands that are much more cost effective.
We're just going with like the 5 popular ones right now. The most popular and like the most used among our demographic. But eventually, like the goal with Pear is to have every wearable connected, even those glucose monitors. And as technology grows, anything we can connect to Pear that is or health and wellness oriented to yourself will be a connection that we can make.
Yeah. So how do you like having a Whoop?
I love having a Whoop. I was very scared at first to have a Whoop. You bought me the Whoop. I think it took me like 2 months before I even put it on because
same for me, though.
I didn't want to know my metrics because I was scared. And a lot of my friends messaged me that they don't want to know their metrics. They're like, I'm going to do so bad. And I know these people, a lot of them, and I look at them and I'm like, you're going to do great. Trust me. You're going to do great.
It's the fear of the unknown.
It's fear of the unknown. And they think they're going to like get a Whoop or an Oura ring and get on Pear. And they think they're going to see that they have cancer, diabetes, and they have like, they're very nervous for all these things.
Well, first of all, we can't tell you any of that shit.
No, exactly. But they don't know that.
Yeah. This is not medical grade stuff. We're just gauging your vibe, just trying to get good people together and see how.
But it's just good to know what even like with Pear, it's good to know what your averages are like. And you're only competing against yourself. You're not, like I can't compete against my brother's average. Our bodies are different. Everything is different. So you're only really competing against yourself. And the gamification, like to compete against others is, well, how much better can you do than your average, right? And different things like that. How many streaks can you have? And that's a fun way to be competitive. But you're really, it's a race against yourself and to see who's performing and improving or not improving.
And spotting the downtrends of people you care about.
Yeah, like for me, like seeing the trends is so important. Like knowing that my mom is up every day for 5 days, or she's down every day for 5 days. If she's up, I'm encouraging her. But if she's down, I'm calling her, hey, what's up? You okay? What can we do?
She's two purples in a row.
That's amazing. That's huge for her.
Yes.
So yeah, that's basically choosing the right wearable. So let's get into the topic of the day today.
Topic of the day.
The topic of the day today is vibes and money and how those two correlate to each other, because there is positive correlation with vibes and money and negative, even if you're very financially stable.
Exactly. They're too little or too much can cause chaos in the vibe department.
Exactly. I've been in every spectrum of that. So I know from experience. And
you want to rewind to our, let's say, our heyday where money was flowing?
Yeah, we had the big business before we sold it. Money was flowing. Expenses were low at the time when we started to make some money. But I know myself back in the day, if I was making 200 grand, well, now I have better credit score, I have better everything, and I have more ability to borrow. That wasn't a good thing for someone who was new into coming into some money. So if I made 200, I was spending 400. If I made 4, I was spending 8. And eventually,
oh, that's a shitload.
It's crazy because when you're buying everything, you're fun, you're happy. As soon as you buy an item, it's dopamine, right? We all love a new shopping something, right? Even if you get an Amazon package that's a box of peanuts, just getting the package and opening it is a dopamine fix. So I was addicted to dopamine fixes back in the day, and my vibe was high.
It was high?
Back in the day? Well, I thought it was. I couldn't measure it, but I was...
No, but like when you were buying shit like crazy and building a crazy house, what state was your body in? You weighed 100 pounds more than you do now.
Yeah, I was 100 pounds heavier. I was drinking all the time. But overall, like my vibe, like not my vibe score, but like I thought I was happy. I wasn't miserable. I wasn't stressed, and I wasn't financially stressed. But when I built a $5 million house on a $400,000 salary, and the budgets went up, I was stuck. That's when I started becoming stressed because, oh shit, I'm making a lot of money, but I've overspent. I wasn't educated in investing and doing the proper stuff. I kind of just had it and it was just coming. And I was stressed like crazy. I had to write checks to finish building the house, and I didn't have enough money in the bank account, and I couldn't borrow anymore because I'd already taken a line of credit. So yeah, I was making a lot of money. I was buying whatever cars I wanted and stuff like that. But at one point, I was overreaching so hard that my vibe went from here to absolutely down there, because when you have a credit card bill to pay and you have no money to pay it and nobody to help you, shit's in trouble. So I remember one year, like I was in Greece and you sent me a text message like, dude, this is the accounting bill. What the hell are you doing? And I was like, okay. So I left Greece. A couple of days later, I came home and I sold all my cars. I sold everything I pretty much had. And yeah, but
I was like, you can't possibly keep this going.
It's not sustainable. It's
going to destroy all of us.
Yeah. So I took a 2-year break. Then I bought no cars. I did buy pretty much anything. I just finished doing my house, and then I barely could afford to keep my house. If I was living in Montreal and stuff like that, maybe that's one thing. But while I was building that house, my ego was so big. I was so new into having that power that comes with the money that I remember being with my designer and stuff, and we're looking at faucets and this and that. And she's like, oh, this one would be great. I'm like, that sucks. Everyone has that. I want the best one. Yeah. You spend 15 grand on a faucet with a Lalique crystal on it.
So that's the point when you said like your vibe was good. Your perceived vibe was good.
Yeah.
So
I was so chemically imbalanced, fueled by ego, fueled by poison, which was alcohol. I was never a drug guy, but alcohol, I was drinking every night, a lot, like having a good time. And those were fueling my decisions, which ultimately led to my demise.
Exactly. So the idea is like, if you're rolling in dough and you have enough cash to keep giving you that dopamine, to keep you spinning on that hamster wheel, that is one thing. But a lot of those people who get too fat, they get really sick, they die, they have heart attacks, all that shit. And you were on that path.
Yeah.
But if you were to have a vibe score at that time, your terrible sleep, your terrible heart metrics, your fucked up body composition would have led you to having the visibility of a terrible vibe score, and you would have at least seen it.
I would have made the necessary changes to my life before making a lot of the mistakes that I made.
Because the idea is, how does a vibe score help you spend less money? Or how does it actually help you? Well, if your vibe score is totally off, it's a sign that your body is totally off. And if your body is totally off, your ego is out of whack. Your decision-making is messed up and going to put you in a dark place that's going to take you over the edge. And that's why people who make so much money, they end up losing a lot of money or going bankrupt, like celebrity kids and all this stuff. It's because surrounded by yes people, no one to say no to anything. And when you can buy everything, you have that power.
That's the thing too. No one ever told me no back then. Older people, younger people, people around me, always enabling and encouraging my stupid decisions.
Yeah.
Right?
I tried.
Yeah, you did. But you were also poisoned in a different way, right?
Yeah.
So, but...
What was the different way?
Well, you weren't spending a lot, but you were out drinking and doing whatever you were doing on Friday nights.
I was getting smashed, and I was actually controlling a lot of the finances. And so I was just saying, yeah, here, you need 300 grand? I'll wire it to you tomorrow.
Yeah. So, and vice versa, whenever. But yeah, so for me, I've been at a point where I have a lot of money, everything's good, but I was so stupid with all that money because I was fueled by alcohol and ego that I went from up here to major crash and everything. And all that caused the whole change in everything, and my whole lifestyle completely changed. So I don't regret it. I actually am grateful and thankful for those lessons. And so that was for me. And I've also been at a point where I don't have a lot of money and as much stuff as I used to have. And I've had to make big changes to my life and my lifestyle and the way I was living because I'm in between. Before I had a company, I had a big salary, I had whatever I wanted. Well, now we sold that company, moved to the States. Money was a lot lower. We had to get a lot tighter and be a lot smarter while we were building this new business before we can, make it big again. So in those times of financial stress, that was the opposite side where it's like, oh shit, like I really got to cut shit down. What are people going to think? Selling my cars. But then at some point I'm just like, the old me would have continued to put myself in debt in order to have a perceived opinion of myself from others. Whereas now, I don't give a shit what you think. It doesn't matter. Like, I see people commenting, there's this guy on Instagram, I'm not gonna say his name or anything, but he's an older gentleman. Crazy cars, millions of dollars of car collection, beautiful, modern, brand new house with all glass and everything. And in the last year, this guy has sold all his cars and replaced them. He bought other cars that are still cool, but a fraction of the price.
Sure.
And I just saw he listed his house for sale. And he's been transparent from the start on Instagram saying, I'm doing this because my business needs money. I need to inject money into my business to be able to grow it. Whether the economy is bad for whatever industry he's in or whether he needs to make the right investments. But the people on the street are like, oh, I don't know what's happening to this guy. Whereas I know exactly what this guy's doing because I've done it. I'm doing it currently. Selling stuff, downsizing, so that I can put it into my business and other aspects of my life that will allow me to flourish later. Because what I'm seeing from that guy is he was just stuck with a lot of expenses. And
a lot of assets, a lot of overhead.
A lot of overhead. And if business is not good and the money's no longer coming and the business is not earning, you can't pay your employees, you got to start doing what you got to do. So the way other people see him is one thing. The way I see him, I'm like, wow, that's awesome that you can actually do that at your age, because most boomers would never do that, because most boomers really care about what other people think.
Exactly. And it's the whole idea of you have to take a step back in order to leap forward.
Yeah.
And
that's what we're doing.
It's really hard for a lot of people to do that because it's scary. If let's say you're born with like a little bit of money and you have this, people have this perception of you, it's kind of built into your personality. Mm-hmm. It's built into the way you live life. People are like, oh yeah, that's that guy. And it's like, on the grand scheme of things, it's like, this is the average person, this is us, and this like, Elon Musk is like this whole room, you know? So it's like, kind of like king of the trailer park idea, where it's like, in the grand scheme of things, is you didn't have that much more. But in our heads, it's like, oh, we're so attached to this idea of we have money and we're born with money and we never want to look like we have less. But when you stop drinking, when you stop being chronically inflamed, when you start to wake up not hungover, you start to shed the weight, physically, literally and metaphorically. You shed the fear. As you get leaner, you chisel yourself into a new version of yourself that doesn't care or doesn't concern themselves with what other people think. Like, as soon as I got sober and started working out and started tracking my nutrition and focusing on these things, so much noise, like that's when I shaved my head. Like, oh yeah, that's when that happened. I was like,
you just stopped caring.
For years, like I started like losing my hair around, well, as soon as I turned 13, like as soon as I hit puberty, my hair like almost dissipated. Okay. I had the most beautiful locks. Like, this is a little side story, but as my hair started to degrade, I started to buy these powders. I was fucking putting hairspray, doing this like pompadour, doing all this stuff. And after a few like months of being sober, I looked at myself in the mirror. I was doing this shit. There's powder all over me. I go swimming. It looks like a fucking...
Someone took a shit next to you?
Yeah, it looks like what do you call it? What are those animals? They're white and they fart. They make a lot of...
I have no idea.
Well, it looks like a hamster got shot.
We know what it looks like. When you fart.
And I was like, what am I doing? I'm like, this doesn't even look good. I look like a fucking idiot. And I was like,
trying to find an old photo to pull up when you were doing your,
I was like, what the fuck? I'm 35% body fat. I'm swollen, and I've got this 3-foot pompadour on my head that's built of hopes and dreams and dust.
Yeah.
And that was the example where it's like me driving a GT3 and having this stupid fucking hairdo. To me, having the fancy cars and the fancy life looks just as dumb as that stupid haircut that I had.
Yeah.
And when I shaved my head, that was when I said, fuck it.
Guy shaved his head, sold his rare Porsche, and then showed up to the office in a Prius. You took it a little too far there. You took it a little too far with the Prius.
But I take everything too far.
Yeah,
I took my drinking too far.
We're all extremists to the max.
But I think there's benefit in being an extremist, is that hit the wall really fast. If you live your life 100 miles an hour, you will get to that wall faster than the average. Because what if we were just like easy, coasting, living the lifestyle, not going too hard? We'd figure out this shit at like 50.
Yeah.
And what a waste of a life.
Like I maybe it sounds a bit cocky, but I'm 35, 34, 35. Even when I was 26, 27, I had already lived and had way more experience than 99% of the 50-year-old adults that I knew. Which is a crazy thing, because most people, you're advised to not take the crazy risk, just do what is told, do what is expected of you, and just live a nice, normal life. And there's nothing wrong with that.
It probably makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's just not the way I am wired and not the way you are wired, right?
Yeah.
So like, we've toured the world. We've built businesses. We've invested in startups. We've lost money. We've made money. We've gone into new segments. We wanted to follow our passions in Hollywood. We developed a script, worked with some amazing people. Like, when we have a thought, we just go for it. Whereas most people, it'll take them 25 minutes to make a decision of what shoes to put on in the morning.
Yeah, and that's
right?
like that's a safe way to live. If everyone was like
no, you can't be like us because we've crashed many times, but we always rise back up.
Yeah, like
we don't care if we go to 0 tomorrow, it'll suck, right? Like if Pear doesn't work, we need to figure it out because we're going all in on this. But if it doesn't work, fuck it, it doesn't work. We figure it out, something else will work. That's a lot of people don't have the ability to do that because it's a difficult and stressful game.
So let's bring in, because not to shit on everybody.
Well, we're not.
The idea of the vibe score is that if you can clear yourself, you can dream bigger and you can go for it.
Yeah.
Because we've only had big ideas since we started getting healthier.
Yeah.
And as we started tracking our stuff and building Pear, we are actually accelerating into the world of like, yeah, actually we want to pursue our dreams. Yeah, actually we actually do want to raise the vibe of the planet. We can actually do that measurably. Only when you're healthy does your body subconsciously give you the permission to go. Mm-hmm. If you're chronically inflamed in the comforts of a nice house and nice wines at night and Wagyu here and there, your body is safe in that state and will do nothing will do everything to prevent you from allowing that to dissipate.
Yeah.
And so being on both sides, having a lot of money in your bank account or having no money in the bank account, depending on your state of mind,
it's really about your state of mind. A lot of people, I see a lot of friends, we came into money earlier, we started making money earlier than most of our friends. A lot of our friends now, from 10 years ago or 12 years ago, are starting to make money now. And I'm seeing their spending habits. I know exactly how much these people make. And I'm seeing what they're doing, just watching. And I'm like, I'm not telling them anything because you only really learn by experience. There are a lot of people back in the day who would try to give me advice or tell me what to do. And I never wanted to listen to them. And they won't really listen to me. So yeah, you see them doing these things and you're just like, man.
But that's life. Like we can only, if you're a hard-headed person or people like we are, to a certain extent, we need to learn the hard way.
That's the only way I can learn.
But what I'm seeing is if you're vibing, if your vitals are in a good place, it's easier to receive constructive criticism. It's easier to take a deep breath and look a little further than just reacting. Because when you're inflamed, when you're all fucked up, you're reactive. Mm-hmm. Everything is to get back at this person or to show this person something or to get that thing you want. Everything is a reaction rather than like, no, I have a plan. I'm going to take a calculated effort to reduce my overhead, to reduce my spending so that I can put it towards something that leads me in the direction that when I'm in my 40s and my 50s and my 60s, I'm going to live an incredible, incredible life rather than just trying to flex.
Yeah. And like, even for me, I lived a whole other life before where I had the crazy massive mansion house. I had the crazy cars. I had business, did whatever I wanted, flew all over the world at any given time. I've done that. I've gotten it all out of my system too. All that stuff that you grew up thinking you will love. And now, this is the first time I'm building a business with a clear, sober mind, with a direct path to where I need to go. And I know the reason I'm doing it. I'm building what I'm building now, not for myself necessarily. Yes, it builds freedom and money, but I'm building something where I can support and take care of my future wife, my future kids, and their future kids. I want to build something great to leave to my family, not to anybody else. I don't give a shit about legacy and all that stuff. But I know that I want a family, and I know that I want to take care of my family. I want them to live a good life. And this is what I'm doing to get there. If I was still drinking and partying and this and that, my only focus would be fucking a new girl every week, like it used to be, or buying the craziest new car and all that stuff, right? Like, not to bring up crypto again for the third week, but crypto's been crazy, and we've been invested together in like for years now, like 5 years, more even for you for Bitcoin, and it's been a crazy week or month. So obviously in my head, it's like, time to buy some cars again.
Does that dawn on you?
No. Well, it's like, I know that if I was not clear-headed and didn't have a direct goal, yeah, I'd probably have 3 new cars in the last week, right?
Yeah.
But I know that, one, I don't even have time to drive these things anymore. Like, for the most part, I enjoy them and I really do love them. But I have a goal. And until I hit a specific milestone that I have in my head, that's when I'm going to buy myself a new fun car or do whatever. Whereas back in the day, there were no milestones. I was bored on a Thursday. I went for lunch, had too much Jack Daniels, and I'd just go to the dealership and come back with a new car. But there's no fun in that anymore.
It's not. And don't you remember that all those dinners and those lavish things, they were like so hollow. The club nights out with all these fucking bottles, and the girls come with the bottles, and then they drink the bottles, and then they leave, and then you get another one.
I mean, I don't blame the girls. The girls' job is to get the guy to spend.
Yeah, that's their job. But I hated it even when I was drunk.
Yeah.
I fucking hated it. I like going to the local bar, buying everybody within 12 feet of me a shot, and just having a good time.
Yeah.
But the show and the waste, even in my crazy days, really fucked me up. And it made me angry.
You were an angry guy at one point.
Because
your soul was not...
It was not fulfilled. It was not my purpose. Yeah. This is not what we need to go, where it needs to go. It's like now...
You know, we were in this will be a funny clip. We were in Taiwan for business, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And we were with our boy Junior, and I think Tino was... Anyway, our friends that and business partners we used to deal with. And at one point, I don't know, we were both drunk in Taiwan. Our supplier had taken us out one night. And out of nowhere, we just started battling. Like, my brother you were so over the whining and dining and visiting these weird places and factories, and you were just so over everything we were doing. And I guess it just exploded one night. I don't know, maybe I triggered you with something. I'm a troll, so I'm always trolling. So.
Yeah, but I never reacted to your trolling. I only reacted to your negligence. Right? Like, yeah. I was like, my soul was deeply sad because I knew that it's almost like I could see the future, and I knew it was going to be a rough decade.
Yeah. So I think we had a battle royale in Taiwan. We once had a battle royale in Spain, in Isla Canela, and but that was always drunken rage because you're the most zen, peaceful guy ever. And that rage was only fueled by my stupidity and our stupidity, because we were both doing some stupid stuff back then.
Yeah. My stupid thing that I was doing was, like, when you are drunk and out of control, you spend like crazy and you have an inflated ego. When I'm drunk, I'm a people pleaser, and I just say yes because I was your business partner the whole time. Mm-hmm. And so I think there was this innate sense of disappointment in myself for allowing this to fucking happen.
We also knew back then, which, I mean, whatever. We can touch on it, is salaries. Salaries are good, but back in the day, I was not someone who should have a salary. Back when, in that lifestyle. Because I knew that, I don't know, for years, every Saturday, I was going to the club or the bar and spending 5 digits every weekend for years. That's insane, right?
Yeah. And I didn't take a salary for 2 years.
Yeah, I know. Well, that is your fault. You could have. But the salary, because I knew no matter what I spent that week, the next week, it's back. And I didn't even have to do anything. When you're running the company and a lot of the things are in line and you have hundreds of employees or 100 employees, you could take a week or 2 or 3 or a month.
And there was continuous growth.
I could be anywhere I want. I could still have my meetings. I was traveling the world having meetings, wining and dining clients after we were rebuilding our infrastructure inside. But the salary for me at that time was bad. Now I don't take a salary. Now I take money through my investments when I need them. Oh, cash out? Okay, I keep more money in crypto and in stuff like that. And I will transfer it to my bank to pay bills and what I need. But the salary for me was not a good thing.
At least not in that state of mind.
Not in that state of mind. Today is a different story. I have a salary. I'm smart with it, and it comes back, and I appreciate it. But yeah, the salary for me, the continue, and it wasn't $2,000 I was getting every week, right?
Yeah, it was a lot. But like the difference now, it's like now that like investments, when they work out, when we take profit, it's like, okay, can we fast track some of what we wanted to do with investors and keep more equity and put it into our business? Because we want to create a financial vehicle that far exceeds any investment we have.
Exactly.
Because now, like learning what we're learning, like I didn't take a salary, and this was when I got sober, I actually became crazier because I was like too.
You became so clear that
I was like, I don't need a salary. We're going to save the company cash flow. We're going to get some consultants to fix our supply chain. I don't need that money. We have a big line of credit, so I don't want to make the company pay too much of that because we got to pay suppliers. So I won't take a salary for a few years, and we'll give it to the consultants so that we can have a better streamlined machine. Sure, it led to our sale and running efficiently, but also knowing that I need to take some for myself.
Yeah.
So now I appreciate investments. I understand that when I cash out investments, there's taxes to pay because we were hit with these huge tax bills at the end of the year, and there could have been a more efficient way of doing things.
Yeah.
It's not just pulling X amount, it's X amount plus that at the end of the year. It's like, oh, shit. And then I have to sell another investment, which incurs another taxable event. And
yeah.
And so there's all this shit.
But all that to say is that, let's say in the last 12 years, we have learned so much because we've done so much, we've experienced so much. Whereas I'm assuming, I'm sure like a lot of people watching this have not experienced this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we've...
And so that's why, like, I can't tell people what to do, and I don't like to tell people what to do unless they ask me. But what I can do is lead by example, tell the stories of the old me, of the old life, of the old business, and show where I am now, show why I changed, why I decided to take control of my life. I'm still working on it, but trying to get that ego down. And to me, life has been so much better and more peaceful in this newer, more calm, more reasonable version of myself. Because even back then, like I remember like friends of mine, and I was like young, but I was like, friends of mine were like, oh, you're going out tonight. It's like Formula One weekend. Like, do you have a table? Can I come? And I'd be like, you're not coming to my table unless you contribute $10,000 to the thing. And like I think about that now. I'm like, I don't like that person. That is a bad person. That is not a good person. And that was just me being so hyped up with, when you start making a lot of money, you start hanging out with people with no real substance who also have a lot of money. And those are the only people you hang out with. And if you're not one of those people, then you're a loser. Like that's my thinking when I was alcohol fueled, deep in the suck, like the whole thing. And I look at that now, I'm like, what a disgusting, disgusting person that was, right? Yeah. But I'm happy I was that person because it turned me into the person I am today. And I'm quite happy with the person I am today.
Your evolution as a person, you've always been a good person deep down, always. You've always been a good person who wants to do the right thing by people.
Yeah.
But I saw your journey when the alcohol and the money started, and you turned into an uglier version of yourself.
Yeah.
And so did I. So did I. But once you embarked on your health journey, which was fueled by your passion of cars, you wanted to start driving cars on Saturday morning and going for your cruises.
Yeah.
And you couldn't be hungover to do that because you wanted to enjoy yourself. And that started the positive feedback loop. And passion led you there. Your passion for cars led you to a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
And your evolution and your self-awareness has been incredible. Because out of the two of us, you were always the more material version.
Yeah, I always like nice, shiny
and it's just is what it is. Like in this,
I still love amazing material things, but I don't let them consume me anymore.
Yeah, you are not them.
No,
like they don't define who you are.
No,
and that's a really beautiful thing about how you've evolved. And we're talking about big numbers here. It's fun to talk about.
Well,
but let me. It's big numbers, but this applies to anybody. Whether you make $80,000 a year or $40,000 a year or $2 million a year, the ratios are the same.
Exactly.
If you're inflamed and you make a little bit of money, and you're having a couple of glasses of wine at night, and you're maybe doing some sports betting, or you're on Amazon buying shit you don't need constantly, you're constantly spending a little more than you're making perpetually, and it adds up, and it adds up, and it adds up, and at a certain point, it's very difficult to get out of. So if you're making millions, but you're spending millions, you're in a tough spot. If you're making tens of thousands and you're spending tens of thousands, so it's like this applies to everyone. And bringing it back to the vibe score, if you want to lose weight, you got to consume less calories. You got to burn more calories than you consume. Mm-hmm. If you want to be profitable in life, you got to spend, it's very easy, less than you make. And so the vibe score allows you, just by virtue of having that, you're going to be more self-aware, you're going to be less egotistical, you're going to be making less stress response decisions, mm-hmm. and it will help prevent nonsense from happening more often than not.
Yeah, totally agree. A lot of nonsense back then. But yeah, it doesn't matter how much you make, because I see people who make 70 grand a year, they get a raise from 70 to 75, they go rent a new house, and they change their Volkswagen Golf to a Mercedes C-Class.
Or an S4.
Or an S4 or A4 S-Line.
Yeah.
But the thing that I learned, and maybe the advice that I can give based on my own experience and on a meme that I saw recently is most people, as they start to make more money in their lives, they tend to buy more things that they can now afford, and ultimately end up raising their overhead. But if you want to really win at life, is the more you are making, when you start making more, reduce your overhead. Spend less, save more. Do that for like 3 years, and you're going to be shocked. Remember, even in our crazy days, at one point you opened a separate bank account, and you had 10% of your salary put into that bank account. You didn't even have access to that bank account for like 5 years. And then
I did that when Dad was still alive.
Yeah, and then out of nowhere, you went to check on that account, and there was like a whole bunch of money in there that you didn't even know you had. And it just went into a separate account that you didn't even have access to. It wasn't in your main account where you could go
on my phone.
You can't see it on your phone. You can't go on your online banking. You can't see it at the bank, because it's a different bank that you don't even go to.
Yeah.
And it was like secret stash, just a little bit in there. That was a huge move, because when you needed that money,
it was there.
It came in clutch.
Yeah. It kind of like having...
I think you might have used that money to buy your first Bitcoin.
Maybe I did. I think I did.
Yeah.
And that's like thing. Like I want to put my money now, not in fancy shit that the neighbors can see. I want to put my money in things that are going to grow. First of all, like I'll put it in investments. I'll put it into my business, because there's no one I'm going to bank on more than myself.
Totally,
and you.
Totally agree.
So if I'm going to cash out investments that did really well, I'm not going to go buy a fucking car. I'm going to put it into the business that I'm going to invest and raise and build to create like not only a better life for us so we can take care of our friends and family, but creating a product
that helps the world.
That helps the world.
Yeah, absolutely. What was I going to say with that is put that. A little funny story is back in the day. Like I remember after I got back from Greece or whatever, I was in LA at some point, Los Angeles. I remember I was walking on Melrose, and we were on the phone. This was at a time where I was like paying off debts. I was spending too much, so I had reduced a lot of my overhead. I didn't have extra cash, which I always had extra cash for emergencies or put whatever. But I had so many bills and credit cards that I had to like pay back the company because I was overspending. I had no extra money. But I remember calling my brother. I called you and I was like, "Yo, do you have this amount of money for yourself, not for me?" And you were like, "Yeah." I said, "Figure out how to buy Bitcoin. There's a thing called Bitcoin. A lot of people are talking about it. I don't know a lot about it, but you know how to figure these weird things out." It wasn't like just going on an app and buying it back then. It was so complicated. And you're like, "Okay, give me 2 days." Like 2 days later, you messaged me like, "Yeah, I bought like a couple Bitcoins or something." And it barely costed you anything.
3.25.
You bought 3.25 Bitcoin?
Yeah.
And it cost you
I think it was 6K Canadian.
Yeah, so like $4,500 American or whatever. And then again, with you literally put it into a briefcase and then you put it in a storage unit, not even in your own house, and you forgot about it. And then in 2021, I called you when Bitcoin went parabolic and hit that first high. I think it was 60,000 it hit for the first time ever. I was like, "Yo, please tell me you still have your Bitcoin." And you were like, I don't even know.
No, I knew I had it. I just
You're
didn't-
like, I don't even know where it is right now or whatever. I was in Florida. It was during COVID. You were still in Montreal. I was in Florida, and I was like, please tell me you have that. And then you called me like a few hours later, like, I got it all. I said, boom, let's do this. So
And the same thing happened.
So when I was broke and I was like not able to make those investments that I wanted to make, at least you were smart enough to not be me.
Well, because my problem is actually that I spend too little.
Yeah.
I'm too, like, I want to be too self-sufficient.
You borrow my laptop, you borrow my car, because you could buy.
I'm buying a laptop.
You could buy everything.
Buying a laptop
You could
next
literally
week.
buy a house tomorrow, but if I have it, why would you need to buy it?
I want to keep overhead low. I want to invest in my business rather than put a down payment on a house. I know that the business is going to be worth 100x in like 3 years. Mm-hmm. So
that's our goal. That's our goal.
So that's just how my mind works, though. Like, but this is it. When we were little kids, I used to have this little, Trix, the cereal. Mm-hmm. I had a Trix wallet that came with
Tricks are for kids.
Yeah, and every time our grandfather gave us like $10, $20, $50.
Oh, he'd always give us money.
He would spend it immediately on like Pokemon cards and hockey cards and toys, and I just stacked the wallet. I stacked the wallet. So every time that I got money from anyone, this little baby wallet got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And what happened? The cleaning lady stole it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the cleaning lady stole it.
Dang.
And so the lesson for me is enjoy your money a little bit.
Yeah.
Or put it to use. But it's better to invest it and let it grow.
I'll probably post some of these clips on my
This is funny.
on my car account, but if you do start making money and you love cars like I do and you want to buy cars that go up in value. Don't buy the newest and coolest thing. Buy something that's either depreciated already or buy a new car that you know is limited and will go up in value. Those are great investments, and I know a lot of people who are buying those cars. The thing is, today, I don't really have interest in those cars because they're all like hyper cars, and I don't really care. I like a driver-focused car.
Yeah.
So, but even then, even though I'm not buying cars now and everything, I still love cars. It's most of my day on whatever I'm doing on the internet is usually car related. I go to do events, and most of my friends are all car related people. So it's still something I like, and it's something I'll never stop buying.
Well, yeah, because you love.
But I'm so much smarter about it now.
Passion.
It's passion. So I'm a lot smarter than it now, and like I have goals and I have milestones of when I'm going to buy which car. Yeah. Right? Like I know the next car I'm going to buy. I know exactly what it is. I know exactly how much it costs. Can I get it today? Yeah. Will I? No. I need to hit that first milestone. The second milestone, I know exactly which car that is, and I'm going to buy that as soon as I hit it. It's a 997.2 GT3 RS. But yeah, and it's actually more rewarding to buy these things when you hit a milestone. It actually means a lot more. And back in the day,
when you actually earn it.
And then back in the day, I used to buy cars, the newest and coolest car. Whatever was brand new, I wanted to be the first. One, I think that was my ego. Two, I love driving and testing new cars and technology. I can't deny that. But a lot of it was also like, okay, I'm growing my socials. I need a new car so that I can continue to grow my socials on my car pages and do this and that. And at one point it got so crazy. Now, none of the cars I want are new. They're all like very special cars to me. I don't care what anyone else thinks about them. And those are what I want.
Yeah, and your personality is shining through it. Like you could have done that the whole time, but you just didn't know. You thought it was the cars that the people wanted, not you.
Exactly.
And you are a very special part of why your page grew and everything. It's your eye. Mm-hmm. It's your questions and answers that you do. It's your beautiful personality.
Yeah. And I also worked very hard. When I decided to create that car account, it was at the point where I had no cars when I had sold everything. And a new Aston Martin came out. I know this is not really about vibes, but we're in it anyway. A new car came out. And I was like, okay, I know I shouldn't order it, but it was when we were starting to go less in our own business and starting investing in more businesses.
Yeah.
So I created my car account so that my employees didn't see that life of mine. And my goal with the car account was build a network. I'm looking to invest in people's great companies, and I want people to be able to invest in my great ideas when I come up with them. And that was the goal of my account. And I was like, hey, well, I can't do that without a cool car. So I bought the cool car that I always wanted. And it propelled me. I got to like the first 3 months, I was at 50,000 followers, organic. And I met amazing people on and off, right, with those cars. So
there was logic and sense when you started to actually be clear.
Yeah, because I was much more clear back then.
You were strategic rather than just like biggest dick in the room.
Exactly.
And yeah, man, I'm with you.
So that's just that. So yeah, like vibes and money. It's like at the end of the day, just because you make a lot of money doesn't mean you're vibing high. Obviously, it's nice to be able to sleep at night and not have financial stress. But I've seen so many people where that doesn't last very long because they are overspending and overreaching, and then they end up just imploding. So,
and to medicate that stress, it's a feedback loop of like, yeah, I'll have the wine every night and this, and then this.
Yeah,
it's never ending, and it sounds cheesy as hell, but health is wealth.
It's no joke. It's no joke.
It's for real.
Yeah, and we're not saying that you can't be successful if you drink wine and stuff. No, not at all. Like I haven't had a sip of alcohol in 3 years. I love wine. I love a good red Cabernet. I cook with them a lot. I make a lot of sauces with them and stuff, but I'm not saying I'm never going to drink again. I wasn't an alcoholic. I was just an extremist.
Yeah, you just went full ham.
Yeah, like it is what it is. But alcohol, at this point, a glass of wine isn't going to do much for me. So why would I even need it?
Yeah,
right?
and it hits hard because I have a drink here and there, and every time it feels like I had 20. I'm so hungover. Like I feel no buzz, and I'm hungover as shit. I hate it.
Guy had 2 sips of sake at the sushi restaurant a couple of weeks ago.
Oh man!
And you needed to take a day off the next day.
Yeah, I was.
The old version of you would have said, "Man, you are such a loser."
Yeah, that's what I would drink in between drinks.
Yeah, that's too funny. So, anyway, vibes and money. They're a good thing. If you start to make a lot of if you start to make a lot of money, be smart with it. Keep your vibe high, and
you'll be better with it.
Yeah, and that's it.
And we want to prove that. Actually, we want to prove that we built a company based on this measurable mantra of vibes and money to show that you can actually identify a white space and build a hugely profitable business with by tracking your vibe score and partnering with health-centric individuals.
And our entire team and the growing team and all the new people that will start working for us soon, they all live by the code.
Yeah.
They all have a wearable.
Yeah.
If you want to work for us, you got to follow the code.
Yeah, it's just what it is. It's a value thing, and I'm not afraid to say it. Like,
no, because we're not forcing people to come work for us. It's like an athlete, a football player or a basketball player. A lot of them in their contracts are like, you cannot drink alcohol during the main season. You cannot do this during the main season because it will affect your performance.
Yeah, and for us, it's the
same with us.
It's not a contract thing. It's just like,
yeah. If you want to work for us, you need to live by the code. That's it. Because how are you going to explain and do well in this business if you're not really living by what we're preaching?
Yeah, and we're going to build a company based on the world we're trying to create. So
exactly. So it needs to be great. Anyway, to finish off this podcast, let's talk about trade shows, conventions, conferences, whatever they're called.
Pear stuff.
The team will be hitting a few conventions starting 2025. So if we're in your city and you are attending these, or if just we're in your city and you want to hang out and whatever, we're going to be there. We're going to be social. We're going to be out and about. We're probably not going to be going to bed at 7:30 p.m. like normal. So I'll tell you the ones that we're planning on hitting. So January 7th to the 10th, we've got the CES convention. That's not huge on health and wellness. It's more of a technology convention, but the wearables and what we're building is all software. It's all technology, and there's a whole section there for that. So that'll be really fun.
Yeah.
I think even if we didn't have Pear, I've always wanted to go to CES.
Now we have a reason.
I've always wanted to go, so I'm excited for that. January 25th and 26th in Los Angeles, the Fit Expo. That's just another one. The next one here is a big one, February, with the Well Tech World Summit. You got Dave Asprey and a lot of the people that we've been following for years. Great. February 3rd and 4th in England. So we're going to go London, England. I would really like to hit that one up.
We're going to sign them all up.
Yeah, I would like to hit that one up, and it gives me a reason to see some of my friends that live in that part of the world.
Great.
So that's cool. February 11th to the 13th, the Connected Health and Fitness Summit. That is the most important one for us because there are investors who go there, and it's all about wearables and things that are technology that it connects to you and your health. So that one is a huge one for us. And then February 16th to the 19th in Nashville, which I'm the most excited for that one because it looks like the most fun show.
Okay.
The liveliest. And I have a lot of friends in Nashville. Amazing. So I'm and they've always been asking me over the years, like, come. And you know what? So
I'm coming.
So if we're there for 2 days, I'll probably stay for 4.
Great.
To see my other friends and my other buddy, Chandler, he basically quit everything and started a new business from scratch like 2 years ago.
Is that his sim racing?
The racing,
business?
like luxury, high-end racing simulators. And like, he's in it. He's in the thick of it. He knows.
Does he track?
He doesn't track. But it's funny because he's like 30.
We need to activate.
He's like 30 years old. And he has 3 kids that he had with his high school sweetheart or whatever. And they're like, his kids are like turning 12, 13. But he went all in on this business and like, he has no choice but to make it work. Like, I don't have a family. You have a wife. I don't have anyone I have to take care of other than my dog. But like, he has no choice but to make this work. But it's awesome because he did a sim for Joe Rogan. He did a sim for all these people that we know and that we follow. And it's been so amazing to see that. So I would love to go visit him and see all that stuff and all my other friends in Nashville.
I think being in survival mode is something that we never were our entire lives because we didn't build the first business we were in.
No.
We grew it, but we definitely did not build it.
No. We're thrown into it.
And what the hell was I going to say?
Being in fight or flight mode. We were never in it.
But in the last few years, we were in fight or flight mode.
Yeah, we sold the business and we did.
We didn't have infinite runway.
We didn't have infinite runway. Yeah, it can take 5 years off, but
which means infinite cash. Like we didn't cash out and we're good for 100 years.
No, we were good. Like we had to even descale our lifestyle a little bit, not a lot.
For sure.
We're still very fortunate and still living very good lives, but we still had to calm it down. And then after moving to the States, that was a huge financial burden. So we even had to calm down a little bit more.
Yeah, and then we're all live in different houses.
And then we're building a big business that requires nonstop cash to fund it and grow it and develop it. So,
but that gives you focus. Like I know that I got to take care of my wife, my mom, my brother, you and me, like you and me, like
together, because everything we do is together.
So if there's a like you don't have a choice but to win, you will win.
Yeah, and for me, it's someone like even in school and anything with deadlines. I never did anything. I never did homework. I never studied. I never did anything until the absolute last second, whether it was 15 minutes before class or, the night before studying for like a big final or whatever it was. I didn't do anything all year until the last second. And it's even like that kind of now is I only really have the motivation to push when I have absolutely no other option.
Yeah.
That's just what motivates me. So for me, maybe that little bit of stress that I have is my actual motivator. Maybe it's not good long-term to have that kind of stress, but it is the stress that fuels me.
It's the fire starter
to succeed.
Look, Elon was going bankrupt. His $180 million he made from PayPal had been not lost, but he put it into his new companies that were hemorrhaging money. And he was like broke. Like a lot of the greats were super tight at one time. Like Amazon lost 99% of its market cap
for like 10 years or something.
For a long time. And a wise man once told us, a guy named PG, that's all I'll say, PG, when our dad passed away and he looked at our
financials,
the company's financials and stuff, and he was like, he said, boys, if you're not hungry, this is all going to disappear.
Yeah.
And that was...
Because our dad had a small business, but it did well for him and my mom and was able to raise us properly. But after he died, there was like other stuff that came with that. And then also, it wasn't enough to sustain me having a family, my mom, and my brother having a family. It wasn't a crazy big business. So we had like...
It seemed big business, and that's a whole other convo that we'll get into.
That's a different conversation. It was the illusion of a big business, but there was a lot of stuff in the background. However, when PG, who was a mentor to us and my dad's very close friend, when he actually looked at the company financials, he went... And that's what he said. If you're not hungry, this will all disappear, because he knew that this was not sustainable. The margins were not sustainable. The product was not sustainable. Yeah. So we had to figure it out, because as it was, that company would not have lasted. But we did everything we possibly could to get it to a point where we could just sell it and get the fuck out, because we never intended on working there when we were young.
No, and growing.
We were in a band.
Growing it actually hurt it. It actually made it worse. And I realized the wisdom of my father of keeping it a certain size because growing the business too much was.
We got to a point where it
was messing up.
We grew it. We were making more money and everything like that. But if we wanted to take it to the next level where we really wanted it to be, it required insane investment to not even come close to our next biggest competitor. So that's when I got the miracle call. We had done a whole rebrand of the business. We had created a whole new division for our custom stuff, and we made it attractive. We had just done a big renovation at the office, so we'd made a beautiful package where someone could just come in, buy the thing, and then pay us out, go.
Yeah, and that was it. And that's what we've always been good at is creating a package and an experience. Are we still recording there? Yeah, a package and an experience is what we've always been good at. That business was not a place to be creative because the margins were too thin.
No, it held us back.
It gave us
a lot of.
It was like an MBA.
Yep.
Like learning trial by fire. If we failed that business, it would mean we were like going to be on the street. But it was an amazing opportunity to learn and grow. When we sold it, we realized, oh shit, it is really a luxury to own a business that we definitely discounted.
Everyone we knew told us we were insane to sell a business. Our mom included. Everybody was like, "Are you guys nuts? Like." You have an unlimited credit card, you have an unlimited bank account, you have unlimited lines of credit, you could buy whatever you want, you could do whatever you want. But they were not working there. They were not in it. And yeah, everything looked great and
money were great.
The perks were great, but both of us were dying inside every day being in a place where we didn't want to be. It's like being in a toxic relationship with your wife that you hate, but you stay together for 25 years and then you both end up
Like the relationship is horrible, but she's really hot.
Exactly, she's super hot, so that's what keeps you with her. Or he's super rich, and that's what keeps her there. But at the end of the day, they're both miserable, and they're cheating on each other, and it just wasn't a healthy relationship. So we got rid of it, and it was a blessing from God, and that gave us the ability to take a breath, to get healthy, and
perspective,
to take our time to figure out what we wanted to do, which is a luxury a lot of people don't have. Is to be able to take a deep breath.
But look, if you have a gift like the one that was given to us, you make the best of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And another wise man once told me, do what you can with what you got.
You do what you can.
And so we sold that business. We had enough time to get some peace and some clarity, some perspective. And we had this opportunity to build this new business that is 1,000,000% in line with who we want to be and what we want to do.
And how we live our lives.
Exactly. And just to help people who, like us, want to accomplish what we want to accomplish.
Yep. So, hey, look, this was a good talk.
That's a banger episode 7.
It was a good podcast. Brother. Thank you for having me over in your office. And so we hope you learned a few things from us. We spoke about the vibe scores. Scotty again on the vibe of the week. We explained a little more in detail what the vibe score is and why it's great. And if we're anywhere in your city for those trade shows that we said. All right, so
we cut out there.
As we were saying goodbye to everybody, our memory card ran out of space. So thank you very much for watching podcast episode 7. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and whatever else there is. If you can share our clips and our content that we post on our Pear Instagram and socials, that would really help bring attention to us and our cause and what we're up to. And that's all it. We'll see you next week. Take it easy.
That was amazing, brother.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.